Commence primary ignition.
For Friday, December 11th, 2020, it's the Serenno Squadcast, the official podcast of the Serenno Squad.
Good evening, Mr. America, wherever you may be.
Okay, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Squadcast. This week we have the usual crew. We've got Paul.
Hello.
We've got Wayne. And we've got Evan.
Oh.
There he is. And I'm Gunner. So thank you guys for joining us. This week we don't really have any Legion news, unless you're going to surprise me, Paul.
Yeah, we haven't had any. Approvals that I've posted.
Yeah, no approvals either. We don't have nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's busy with holidays.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. And also, people are probably trying to stay safe and whatnot. So
Saving money for Christmas, too, probably.
Yep, all those good things. So I guess we'll just jump right on in to this. Top story.
Excuse me, that's the wrong franchise.
I think I don't care.
Top story this week. Where to begin?
Top story this week is, what are you drinking, Gunner?
Oh, this is Bundaberg. It is
I know what he's drinking.
ginger beer.
Oh, it looked like an old-timey medicine bottle from like
Did you get it
1909.
from a guy in a horse-drawn carriage? It was like
Yeah, it was a gypsy, actually.
promised
Just
to,
rolled up.
cure all your woes and ills.
Yeah, it's like grandpa's old cough medicine. No, actually,
Where did
Paul-
you find that snake oil?
well, Paul, you might have seen Adam Savage's channel
Yeah.
where he's
He's drinking them all the time.
He's drinking them all the time, and they actually sent him a special bottle with his image and everything, called it like Adam's Brew or something like that.
And being
And-
unhappy with it, he rebuilt the bottle.
Yeah, exactly. And we were watching that video on YouTube, and that evening went to Target to go shopping. And because, you know, how the world works, as soon as you hear something, it pops up right in front of you. And we saw it and bought some, and they are delicious. It's ginger beer, so it's a lot like a root beer or like a cream soda. It's really sweet and delicious.
But it's
So-
red-headed, so you don't trust it.
When I was in Australia, my favorite drink was Bundaberg rum, which they do not sell here, but that's where it's from. Is from Australia. It's a love-hate thing. It's kind of like licorice flavor. You either love it or you throw up.
Right. This is not like that at all. If you've had any type of ginger beer, this is the best one. It's like a cream soda. It's really
You can make like a Moscow
smooth.
Mule with it.
Yeah, sure. Come on over. Well, don't come over. Just send me a recipe. But anyways,
Drink on the porch.
Yeah. We're gonna.
You know what? Stay the hell away.
This is not the ginger beer podcast. And instinctively this week we decided not to record yesterday, and today being Thursday, we got a lot of Star Wars Disney news.
Yeah.
So
Well,
The curse of the podcast almost struck.
almost
It's
But-
like the reverse curse.
it worked out
Like
in our
it's
favor.
what's the reverse of a curse? A boon?
That's
Sure.
The podcast boon for once.
a miracle.
Sure.
Miracle, right?
I don't know. Gunner, if you get a chance, ask your snake oil salesman. He'll know.
Yeah. He's still out back. All right, I will.
Okay.
He'll have a drink for it.
Yeah, I
He's
let him.
out there-
I let him
he's out there
crash in my
attracting a crowd
backyard.
right now.
Yeah, I let him crash in the backyard. He's got a fire and everything going.
Literally, he's changing the wheel on his horse-drawn carriage in the backyard.
Broken boat.
We'll check up on him later. But where do we start, guys? Because the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, that is probably. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
I mean, come on.
Some foreshadowing.
I have one complaint against this week's episode of The Mandalorian.
Let's hear it.
Let's start it
How
off.
dare they make me care about Boba Fett? I have spent years not caring about Boba Fett. How dare they make him interesting?
Well, they always described him as either being like the worst bounty hunter ever or the most vicious bounty hunter ever, and I think they decided to pick a lane in this episode.
I called it.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah. I thought it was going to be later in the series where we'd have Boba pop up, but there we go. It was, and he didn't just pop up necessarily. How did this episode begin?
So the Mando and Grogu, still getting used to that one, but it's growing on me. He heads off to Tython, where Ahsoka told him to go. Finds Seeing Stone, plops the little baby down, and says, "Do your thing." And in hilarious, Mando is utterly clueless about everything. I loved how he walked around the rock looking for a switch.
Yeah. Yeah, but it did give us a great insight of his helmet. It's done that maybe once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, where he does like the Predator vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then, that happens. And then a very familiar ship lands.
Oh my goodness. That, when that ship, the Slave 2, is that what you call it? The Slave 2? Is that what it's
Slave
always been
1.
called? Slave 1, sorry. Slave 1.
Is it confirmed that is, like, now that we've confirmed that Boba's armor is Jango's armor, was that confirmed as Jango's ship as well?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Clone Wars mentions it, that it's the same ship.
Wow.
I remember in my Boba Fett researching days, there was debate on the dented helmet forums about, it got so deep it was even about the ship, and apparently the ship, the way there was like some like the actual shape of the ship was slightly different between Boba Fett and Jango Fett, so they would swear up and down that there was no way that they were the same ship.
Right. Well, they had models made, right?
Yeah. And some time passed between them. There's like 20 years worth of things that happened. So
Look, these are
It's
nerds
true.
on the internet who can't reason with them.
You got to have upgrades, ships still
Yeah.
just run.
the ship had some rough times in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It had a wing chopped off and crashed.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I need to go right back and rewatch Clone Wars.
Ahsoka chopped a wing off, if I'm not mistaken, when Asajj was trying to get away in it.
Wow. I'm not sure if I watched the Clone Wars now.
Yeah, welcome to my life. I don't think I've ever seen Star Wars.
I mean, there's like 400 episodes of it, so I mean, it's yeah.
It's like 120.
Oh.
Well, yeah. So the slave flies in so gracefully. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, like I've mentioned to you guys, like seeing the Millennium Falcon in the Force Awakens trailer. Like, brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, I saw it and I was just like, no way. They're not doing this, are they? And then they walked out and he's like, yep, we're doing this.
I couldn't believe at first. I was like, is it going to be someone else? Is it going to be like, I was thinking it was going to be the, I don't know, the karate chick. What's her name with the helmet that looks like a knight's helmet?
Oh, Fennec?
Yeah, I was like, it's probably going to be her in the ship because that's like the last person I could think of from Tatooine that wasn't Boba Fett because I'm still
Right.
like, in shock from episode 1. The episode 1 of this season of Mandalorian, not episode 1 of Star Wars.
Chapter 9 or
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I'm trying really hard. It's not easy. It doesn't come naturally. But the ship looked awesome, and it looks even rough. Like the windshield or the I guess you would call it a windshield on the ship.
Yeah.
Was so dirty and grimy. I mean, it looks awesome. I was hoping that they would kind of I don't know. I was hoping that it would be like some changes to it. Wouldn't be exactly the same as what we saw. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the old ship looked like, but it looked really dingy and awesome. So I was sold.
For all we know, that ship has been sitting parked on Tatooine for 5 years. You probably had the equivalent of like the boot on side of it, so you couldn't lift off. Unpaid parking tickets stuck to the window.
4 flat tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the story is. But they don't really go into explaining his whole getup with the robes and the Tuscan what the heck? I mean, he was beating the heck out of people whenever he got to using that thing.
I think it's fair enough to infer what his life has been like the past few years. I mean, he clearly lost the armor in the Sarlacc pit. He had to, I'm assuming he came out stark naked, had to scavenge for whatever he could find. So he probably found a black robe somewhere. He clearly killed the Tusken Raiders to take the gaffy stick. And I mean,
Yeah.
we can assume that also from him just being a bounty hunter that he's just brutal and knows how to whack people with a stick.
Yeah, he's crushing those helmets. It's just plastic flying everywhere. Or not plastic. What is that?
Plastic steel.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So
Not
all that
plastic, it's space plastic.
was space plastic. That's right.
Yeah, Boba Fett made Chirrut Imwe look like a chump. Let's be honest.
That's right. Yeah, and then all of the melee fighting and stuff was just so intense, and they did. Tamora Morrison was on fire. He was awesome.
So good.
He really does like. I feel like he kind of carries himself like a Boba would, even though it's a whole different actor. Hey, you know what, guys? I just thought of something.
Okay.
We forgot to mention the passing of the one and only Darth Vader himself, David. And so I figured before I go on and forget all about it, we might as well just mention that right now, because I don't think we would have remembered it with all the news and stuff we got going on.
Yeah.
So David Prowse, he is no longer with us, but there's a documentary that came out not too long ago. What is it called now? Is it You Are? What is it? You Are the Father. I Am the Father. What is it? There's a documentary about David and how.
Yeah. That I think it's called I Am the Father. That sounds familiar now.
I'm butchering it. It's something the Father. But anyways, it was a little documentary about his life and how he was kind of he wasn't as celebrated as much as the rest of the cast of Star Wars. And
That was by his own doing.
There was
you learn a lot about both sides in the documentary for sure. Yeah, that's just one thing that I remembered from that documentary.
Yeah, he got blamed, whether truthfully or not, whether he did it intentionally or not. He got blamed for spoiling Empire Strikes Back.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In an interview or something.
There's two different versions of the story I've heard, and I don't know if they're both true, if one of them is true and one's not. One is, so obviously they shot the I Am Your Father scene with different dialogue. David Prowse in the suit would always read the dialogue. So he's reading dialogue that basically says, Obi-Wan is your father, and Mark Hamill's reacting to that the way they told him to. Because on set that day, only George, Mark, and Irvin Kershner knew the truth, knew what really was going to be said. One of the stories I heard is that basically the next day or the next week, the British tabloids published a headline that says Star Wars spoiler reveal, or whatever the 1979 version of that was. Obi-Wan is Luke's father. And then the other story I heard was that he was at like a convention or he's doing an interview with somebody, and he mentioned offhand, he's like, oh yeah, and Darth Vader is Luke's father. Just very kind of offhand comment. And it was before the movie had come out. So he said it was just speculation, and I don't know.
Right.
It basically led to him describing filming Return of the Jedi as like the worst experience he'd ever had.
Yeah, I know it was a different time back then. Well, I don't know. Hollywood's a whole different world, and then George Lucas's world is a whole another thing too. I feel like nowadays, if you were to do something like that, which might have already been done, I don't know if there has been any actors that have spoiled any of these recent films. I don't.
Mark Ruffalo, Tom Holland.
Yeah, I don't feel like they would have gotten the hate that David got.
No,
Because
I think it was a different time, and
it was a different time, and then also like I don't necessarily think he dug his own grave, but I feel like nobody understood what was going on, and nobody understood anyone's side of the story. Like some people thought that when you watch that documentary, is they were like, "Oh, we thought that he thought this," and they were like, "No, we talked to him, and actually he thought this, and thought y'all thought this," and nobody was on the same page, and so it was like miscommunication. It was a different time, and unfortunately, one of the greatest, if not the greatest villain of all time was kind of, in the shadows most of his career. But probably didn't have much of a career afterwards.
no, he did. He did a lot of conventions. He's in a ton of stuff as he's monsters. He was Frankenstein's monster in a bunch of the Hammer horror films. In England, he's famous as what's called the Green Cross Man. It is basically a series of PSAs done to teach kids how to look both ways before crossing the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like almost as famous as Darth Vader as he is as the Green Cross Man.
Wow.
So he's like to the Smokey the Bear of the UK.
Kind of, yeah. It's like on that level.
He's a hero, but yeah, it is sad though. We've lost a lot of people this year. And David, he was on up there too.
He's 80 something, 70 something.
I think it was like mid 80s, I want to say.
85.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah. His health had been failing in the last few years. He'd stopped doing conventions. I think he'd even stopped doing signings. Like people would mail him stuff and he would sign it.
Couldn't keep up with all that. Now, you even said that he 501st related. He was an honorary member.
He's an honorary member. I looked on the website to see if I could verify the correct title, and they don't have it listed anymore. At one time, I know he was listed, whether it's formally or informally, he was the honorary commanding officer, because it's the 501st is Vader's fist, and he's Vader. So
Awesome. Well, at least they did that for him, because he's the man. I mean, like, I don't think, I don't know, but I don't think James Earl Jones could have fit in that suit the same way.
no.
No.
I don't know, but
A lot of the physicality of Vader comes from David Prowse.
Right. His everything, exactly. Vader's fist.
He figured out how to walk a certain way so that the cape would flow dramatically behind him. Yeah, a lot of it is Dave, where the character, I can't talk. Words are hard.
Yeah, I can tell you. But I think maybe it sucks how it happens, but sometimes people, they get the justice they deserve post-mortem. Hopefully he'll be celebrated and actually known. A lot of people don't know who Darth Vader was. They think James Earl Jones is Darth Vader, which, yes, he is the voice. Very unmistakable, unique voice. But David Prowse, he's a legend, and wanted to take a moment to remember him.
Yeah.
But moving on with the podcast, we're back to The Mandalorian, where I guess we've got the slave approaches, and the slave ship. It's not
Slave One.
The Slave One. Now, why is it called the Slave One?
Not a clue.
Because wasn't it called the Slave Two?
There is a ship in Legends called Slave 2.
Okay.
In the Dark Empire comics, Boba Fett comes back, and he's flying a different ship.
Legends means nothing, so forget I ever said it. So, the Slave One approaches. Also, we have like a really awesome kind of it's like a classic Western scene on the side of the hill with a bunch of boulders, and
Yeah.
they're sneaking around with their pistols and shooting at each other. I mean, it's awesome. I got a feel of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I mean, it's
all that good
basically that's
stuff.
probably where they filmed a bunch of westerns anyway. I'm assuming that was Southern California.
Yeah.
I was even thinking to myself, this looks like they might have picked this spot specially for.
Yeah, the Vasquez rocks were on the other side behind them.
There was a TikTok that somebody recorded. They said, going out on my morning jog, and like, oh, what's all these trailers and film equipment? And they come up over a ridge, and they said, this is as close as the security would let me get. And they zoom in, and there's all these stormtroopers down in a valley running around.
I remember seeing that when it was like brand new, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And then we finally get to see it on Mandalorian. I mean, it wasn't like really a spoiler or anything. I mean, stormtroopers are going to be there. They were just outside with some rocks.
Yeah, they're always running around. So I guess once the stormtroopers they approach, that's when. Well, no, even before that, Boba demands his armor, and he thinks Mando thinks that he's talking about his armor. It's like, no, that's my armor in your ship.
That's when we got the reveal we've been waiting almost 20 years for.
Yep. Boba Fett's still kicking it. He's still alive. What do you think about that, Wayne? Did it blow your mind?
No. I'm having a problem with the show right now, actually, because when you say one we've been waiting for, we haven't been waiting for that. Certain fanboys have been waiting for that, and that's all that this episode was fanboy service.
Yeah,
because it's a show made by two fanboys who
are
like.
Wait a minute.
I really like this in this book that they say doesn't work, so we're going to make it work. And I remember having this toy, and so let's put it in the show. It's all become this big fanboy service, and with a baby.
It is, but we did get a lot out of this episode. We got a lot of costumes.
I'm not saying the show's not good. I'm saying it's really bothering me that nobody dies in Star Wars, apparently.
that is bothering me. Is the trend in the last few years of no death.
Yeah,
every little thing that they're showing so far, if you didn't grow up with the toys and you haven't religiously watched every show that they've put out, you don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's what
plenty of people who are I'm watching the reactions to them watching the show. They have no idea who these people are.
Yep.
They don't know who Ahsoka Tano is. It's just some character that they named.
Oh my goodness.
Boba Fett is. He's just some guy that showed up, and the armor fits him weird, so he looks like one of us in the armor.
Well, it's because he's wearing it over his
Boba Fett is though. He was in 2 of the 3 of the original trilogy movies.
Yeah, but they're not looking at it like that. I mean, if you like most people when they're doing the reactions, they're like, "How should I watch this?" So you're watching 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9.
You're watching them in the wrong order, but okay.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9.
Well, you could either
release order.
That's indulging middle-aged white dudes.
Well, that's how they're being told to watch them by the fans.
Right.
So that's what they're doing. So they're what? Out of 9 movies, that was the second and third movie that they watched. That was the last time they saw him.
No, they saw him in episode 2.
Well, no, they saw Django in 2.
Yeah, and his son, Boba.
Right. I'm saying
the
that
iconic
character,
Boba.
that armor that is in the show, they haven't seen since 7 movies back.
Okay.
Just for seconds in the movie.
Okay.
So they don't know who that is.
I think so. Here's
they're
what
not
I'm
paying
thinking.
attention to a timeline.
I think
yeah.
I think what happened is before the new movies came out in 2015 or whatever, Star Wars was basically a hardcore fans thing. Like it was like if you liked Star Wars in 2010 or whatever, then you were into the comics and the games and all the movies and the shows and everything. But when they came up with the sequel trilogy was so like just its own thing. Like it really, like it pulled stuff from the other movies, obviously, but for the most part, it was a very self-contained story, all new stuff. And so we've been used to that for, 4 or 5 years, just this, like, here's all of this new stuff, but now we're getting thrown back into this old school mindset of Star Wars is for hardcore fans. And so I think there's like some competing mindsets there.
I disagree with both of you guys.
Hold on. I'm
To Wayne's point. Okay.
Wayne's grasping his heart.
So going to Wayne's point. All right. So if you're judging by this, you should know going into this show, this takes place after Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens. So anything from the sequel trilogy is irrelevant because it hasn't happened yet. The most you're going to get is teases. Maybe there's Snoke teases, maybe there's not. So if you want to understand the time frame of this show and what it's referencing, you should probably watch Return of the Jedi at the very least. And be familiar with Return of the Jedi. Because we're only a couple years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, you get a lot of the same imagery.
Since they put out the sequel trilogy, they stopped all prior stuff. They didn't put any of that anymore while those 3 movies were coming out. And from what I was saying, I'm not saying they're watching the timeline out of order. I'm saying they're watching stuff in release order, and they wanted to watch the movies first.
Okay.
And so watch these movies.
Okay.
But the character that's shown up in this that they're supposed to be so excited about, they're not going to remember it because that character was in the movie for seconds. And unless a hardcore fan, you don't know who the hell Boba Fett is. I think they say his name, twice in the movie?
You just have to understand, okay, this is a character that we'd seen before. He has kind of an iconic look. I mean, yeah, he is a very small part, but he's a part of Return of the Jedi. He's a part of that story. We're picking up threads from that story. The first episode of this season starts with the Death Star blowing up. And he even flat out says, the second one.
Yeah, he references that. He absolutely does.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But
there's plenty of context clues telling you where you are in the story.
The mindset of a casual fan, in which we cannot do.
We
cannot wrap our head around that.
Well,
but I think context-wise, for like Bo-Katan, you don't need to know who Bo-Katan is. All you need to know, she's a Mandalorian. They give you all the context you need to know in that episode. She shows up and she says, "I grew up on Mandalore. This armor's been in my family for 3 generations. You're an idiot as part of a cult." That's what tells you everything you need to know right in that episode. Same with Ahsoka Tano. She's in the Bo-Katan episode. He asks, "I need to contact a Jedi." She says, "I know a Jedi. Go to this planet, ask for Ahsoka." You don't need to know who Ahsoka is to understand Ahsoka as a Jedi. The episode is called The Jedi. She's referred to as a Jedi multiple times, and we see her using the Force and lightsabers. So you understand, okay, she's a Jedi. I don't need to know. There are little bits thrown in the background, like Thrawn, like mentioning the Darksaber. That's part of a larger story arc of just Star Wars, but it's not relevant to the Mandalorian character. You can those are seeds just thrown out. That's Obi-Wan mentioning the Clone Wars to Luke in episode 4. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Lando mentioning the Battle of Tanab. That's Obi-Wan again mentioning that business on Cato Nemoidia. It's just little bits of story seeds thrown out. You don't need to know what they referenced are.
I think that so what I think Wayne might also be referencing is more specifically like the fans, where you've got fans who are Star Wars fans. It's like, are you a Star Wars fan or are you not? If you're a Star Wars fan, most Star Wars fans know who Boba Fett is, because it's like, well, Luke and them, well, Boba Fett. Well, no, who's Boba Fett? Well, you figure it all out. Now, the problem is the majority of people that are watching, The Mandalorian are not people. I mean, there are, of course, there's Star Wars fans, but there are fans, like Wayne was saying, that have no Star Wars. They're not Star Wars fans at all. I work with someone who was trying to talk to me about the episode, and she was saying the character Hasaka, I'm like, Ahsoka. She's like, yeah, that's the one. I'm like, people are into it. They really like it, but they don't know the characters hardcore like that. But those people aren't really Star Wars fans. They're
They
coming. Well,
Yeah,
they're hopping.
they
They're
are.
jumping. They're hopping on the boat. I'm telling you, if they, the people that I'm talking
No,
to,
you can't judge that. That somebody has to be. They have to do something the first time at some point. Just because they've only watched something one time doesn't mean they aren't a fan of it.
what I'm saying is that there are some fans that started with the originals, and the majority of people that are watching, I think that you're talking about people who don't know Boba Fett. Those people are jumping on bandwagon. They're new. They're jumping on the Baby Yoda.
They're more Mando fans than they are Star Wars fans.
Star Wars hasn't been mainstream that long. I would say it wasn't till maybe the prequels did it. I don't even think the prequels, it was first in some people's eyes mainstream, but
it was still pretty nerdy during the prequel.
That's
era.
what I'm saying, and most people made fun of me when I was a kid.
I have an episode title for you.
Yeah. Oh no, I already got it. Already got it
with everyone.
I've already got one for it, so I'm sorry.
I think
Star Wars has been mainstream since May of 1977.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much more mainstream than Star Wars.
You're right, but there are other people that would disagree, and I'm speaking.
They'd be wrong.
They'd be absolutely wrong.
I think if I were a brand new fan right now and I was watching this, I would be so insanely excited because I would be seeing all these characters. And like Paul said, you get enough information to know in the context of that episode who they are and why they're important. But to know that there's this huge backlog of other things that they're not like comics that you have to go rifle through a cardboard box to find. They're actual like episodes of a show you can watch. Like that would make me so excited as a new fan, because when I was,
these characters aren't important. If you're just taking them within the context of the show, they're not important. They're important to the storyline of that particular episode, but they're not important characters.
Well, just going by the context of Season 2, just these 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first episode of Season 2, Mando goes to Tatooine because someone says, hey, there's a dude walking around with Mandalorian armor. So he goes there. He meets a guy who's wearing Mandalorian armor. That guy tells him a story of how he got this armor. I forget if the name Boba Fett comes up in that episode or not. No. I don't think it does.
It doesn't.
So we hear he found this armor in the sandcrawler of the Jawa sandcrawler. He traded his stolen treasure for it, and it's beat up, but it's got all the stuff that we've come to associate with Mandalorian armor. It's got the little tricks on it. It's basically bulletproof. And then we get this shadowy figure at the end of the episode who's just tracking Mando across the Dune seas. Okay, so we're like, that was kind of weird. That must be teasing something for later in the series. So then we cut to this week's episode, and there's this mysterious character appears and says, that armor you have is mine. And my name's Boba Fett. And then you see him kick all kinds of ass. That alone tells you, okay, this dude is a badass. He's pulling all kinds of tricks out of this armor, and his name's Boba Fett. That's all within the context of the show. That's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't need to know, he was that bounty hunter who tracked Han to Cloud City and he fell into the Sarlacc. I mean, you can look at the armor and it's beat to poodoo. I'm trying to keep it PG.
I like poodoo.
It beat the poodoo, and
that's a whole
he's all scarred up.
It's another kinky episode.
So if you know Return of the Jedi, even if in passing, you can say, "Oh, that's the dude who fell into the space vagina."
It's PG-13 now. Thanks.
Yeah, way to go, poodoo, man, poodoo. What the heck? Oh my God.
Wasted a poo.
It would have sounded a lot
Paul,
worse.
Paul,
if I said
I definitely agree with you, Paul. You don't really need to. I think they do that on purpose. I think
That's
a
what I'm
lot.
saying. They're not important characters, though. They're important for the story of that particular episode.
yeah. Well, we're not done with Boba Fett.
No. I don't know where we were getting at with that, but I gotta say it was riveting. We might just call it Paul disagrees with everyone. I don't know. I was thinking Hannah had a really good one for a quote later on in the episode. This isn't a spice dream. So I thought that might be.
Which part was
Here's
that from?
That's whenever Boba is chasing the spoiler, the Dark Troopers back up to the ship, and he says it's the Empire, and he's like, "Are you sure?" And he says, "This isn't a spice dream."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. So it's either between
Wait, did Boba
Paul
say,
disagrees with everyone, or
did Boba say it's not a spice dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then that ties back into that whole fan
Yeah.
canon of
I
the
thought it
fact
was
that
gonna
Boba
be-
Fett got beat up in Return of the Jedi was because he was high on spice. So he's at least familiar with the drug. Just
I
saying.
thought that was just more from a clone. Wasn't there a Clone Wars episode where there was like a spice run or something with Boba?
There is, yeah. But spice is like
spice in
known in
everything.
the
Spices
Yeah.
and everything, because this, drugs are all in every universe, right?
The spice must flow.
Okay, if you say so.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Why is it all of them, important now? It's been 20 years, and he knew exactly where it was. There's this guy that's been just wearing it in this town. If it was so important, why didn't he just go there? He could have beaten him.
He knew who had it.
And just gotten it.
Yeah,
and-
that's an unanswered question.
that's true.
I'm sorry. Was that on Navarro or Tatooine?
Tatooine.
Tatooine.
So
Tatooine.
he was
The
there,
Marshal- Yeah, he was right there. He was literally next door.
and he was able to track them and follow them to this. To Tython. He was able to track Mando, but he wasn't
And
able
he'd rather pick a fight with the Mando and take his armor that way than take it from Cobb Vanth, which that's true. That does seem pretty odd.
maybe
Yeah.
something
Like this
will,
scrawny little goofball.
maybe something will play out. I don't know. That's a weird one.
I'm sure we're getting more Boba Fett to explain that story. There'll be a book or a comic or
Yeah.
maybe a show or something that'll explain that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, is that he just saw that Cobb was doing the right thing, so he just let him have it for now. He knew where it was. It wasn't going anywhere. And then when it did go somewhere, well, now there's a problem.
That's true.
That's a possibility, that he didn't have a use or need for it yet.
Okay. That's Wayne. I like that. So yes, we are all thumbs up. Except for Wayne.
All
No thumbs
agreed
up.
with me.
Yeah. Anyways, so we get a deal where Boba gets his armor if Mando gets help protecting the child, and he had introduced what's her face, obviously,
Fennec.
Fennec,
Fennec.
who was
Wow.
thought to be dead from the last season.
We
Resurrected.
knew she wasn't dead.
We knew that something was going to happen. I didn't know if she was going to be I didn't know. But she's back. She's if you don't remember her, she's the sharpshooter from the first season where they were shooting the flares trying to avoid her shots.
Yeah,
with the
She got
gunslinger.
shot by Douchey McDoucherson, the
The gunslinger.
baby bounty hunter.
Baby bounty hunter, exactly. Yeah, what a
Heather
lame.
had no idea who Fennec was. She was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "She was in the first episode. There was like, she was up on a ridge shooting at Mando and the guy on the speeder bikes, and she was like, I got nothing." And I was like,
Yeah.
That's all I got for you."
Yeah, it's probably been a year since we've all seen the first season.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And at the end of that episode, when we see like the feet come up to her, there, if you listen really closely, you can hear the spur sound effect of Boba Fett. And at the time, the biggest theory going around was that it was Boba Fett. And I totally bought into that theory. And turns out me and some of the rest of the internet was right.
Yep. I do remember that. I do remember it. And then I remember no one ever talked about it ever again until the show came back. They're like,
We talked about how much that other character was a douche and how a great character was wasted.
Yes.
Yeah. I was very glad to see her back, and seeing her just ripping through the stormtroopers was so gratifying.
Dude.
And her costume is so cool.
She can handle a rifle. She can swing that thing around, and it was awesome.
She did like the backwards jump off the rock, shooting. That was just epic.
And then turns around and takes out 2 more. Yeah, that was so good. So yeah, that was an epic fight there on the side of the hill. There was a well, before that, there in flies a what would you call it?
Like a
support
troop transporter.
Yeah, troop transporter with
Which I think they must have modeled them after the First Order ones from Episode 7.
It did look like kind of a early version of that kind of ship. Yeah.
Yeah, like an Empire version. But like, I don't think we've ever seen a dropship like that, an Empire dropship like that.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
They start rolling out up the hill, and then we get a glimpse. I don't know if it's the first or second wave, but we get a mortar trooper.
Oh,
So cool.
yes.
Looks so cool with the yellow stripes.
There's
That's
a cool detail is the mortars he's shooting are the thermal detonator that's on the back of a stormtrooper belt. He's dropping in. That's what he's dropping into the mortar to fire.
I gotta go and look. I gotta pay attention.
Wonder if it's still got the banker's clips on it. He's
He's
got to unscrew banker's clips. Like, oh, dang it.
I didn't think this through. Yeah, that was one of my favorites. That's one thing that I really enjoyed about the episode is we got a few costumes. Now that has been a character in video games and maybe in a series. I'm not sure.
Which
The
one?
mortar
The
trooper,
mortar
or the incinerator trooper version from
Mortar.
season 1?
I didn't. Nope. Mortar Trooper from this season.
Mortar Troopers is new, I think.
Okay,
It might have been from a video game, but
but
I know that the incinerator trooper from the season 1 finale was
it's an action
from
figure,
an
right?
it was from a video game or something, I think.
it was in like Battlefront or Force Unleashed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was I want to say it was like it may have also been an incinerator trooper, like a flamethrower trooper or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did we get? We got that. We got obviously, you get a new Boba Fett costume. That thing, it looks so cool with the. I don't want to call it a skirt, but
It's his robes. He's wearing like black robes.
it was almost like a Sith Lord meets Boba Fett.
It's
I know it's
grown on me,
impossible.
but
And blasphemy,
this
but
Boba
it sounds
Fett-
so cool.
this one will always be my favorite. The all green Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back. This is my favorite.
It's a classic. I mean, the flight suit and everything underneath, it's so unique. It's so cool.
Yep.
But
Now, I have a super nerdy question. Maybe Evan can answer it. I don't know the Boba Fett paint jobs very well. Is it a Return of the Jedi paint job or a special?
It is a
edition
Return of the
paint job?
Jedi paint job. The way that you can tell is because it has I would almost call it a reverse droop. Like over one of the eyes, there's the damage from the it's like the dent, and then there's damage that goes straight down. And I never liked the way that damage looked because it didn't look natural. Because to me, on the Empire Strikes Back helmet, the dent is here, and then it has a scorch mark that goes back. But on the Return of the Jedi helmet, it's the opposite way, and I just think it looks sloppy to me.
Because the special edition is Return of the Jedi from neck down and an Empire helmet.
Yeah, so I can't remember which. So I think on the A New Hope special edition, because there was the A New Hope special edition, and then there was the Return of the Jedi special edition, and I want to say one of them was full Return of the Jedi, which I think was A New Hope, and then I think there were scenes in Return of the Jedi with the Empire helmet, but I can't remember. I may have them reversed. Actually, I think I do have them reversed. I think the A&H special edition Boba Fett in the scene with Jabba the Hutt is the Return of the Jedi with the Empire helmet, which they took out of storage actually and was really badly damaged. So If you look really, it's hard to look closely because he's kind of far away in the shot in the hangar. But the helmet has like all sorts of damage on it, and it has like residue from where it was being held in a container, and it's got scratched all the hell on the back.
Nice.
I know way too much about Boba Fett helmet.
That's a lot. I was about to say for a helmet.
That's part of what makes costuming for Star Wars so difficult is the characters vary from scene to scene.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like Evan is kind of like a Boba Fett snob, though. You know what I mean? Like he's.
I would say I probably used to be a bigger Boba Fett snob than I am now because like especially like the new Boba Fett. I didn't like it even at first, but it's starting to grow on me. I don't hate all of Return of the Jedi. Like I like the red gauntlets. I think they're cool. The multicolored jetpack I always thought was actually cooler than the Empire Strikes Back jetpack because it's yellow and red and blue, and it just looks really cool. I think there's a simplicity about the Empire Strikes Back. It's mostly that paint job on the helmet that I don't like in Return of the Jedi.
And you have a Return of the Jedi, right?
No.
Oh, you do have an Empire Strikes Back.
I got an
Okay.
Empire.
Well, that makes more sense because that's what you want. Well, are you thinking about doing?
No.
Okay. Well, answer that question. Moving right along. So yeah, we have that first wave of stormtroopers come through. Mando is still on top of the hill trying to get little Grogu to snap out of it because they don't have enough time. He does the meditation.
Mando once again proves that he's the worst one. He's
Yeah.
he's outclassed in every fight now.
Yep.
It
He's
really
terrible.
is. Yeah, but he's got a lot of heart, so that's all that matters. And
He's lucky he has that armor, or he would have been ripped to shreds like a season and a half ago.
Yeah, dang, that's true. The armor takes everything. Everything.
Yeah, against low-level crooks, he's a badass. But when you get anybody who knows what they're doing, they will just rip him to shreds.
Yep.
So the troopers, we had our regular TK troopers, but we also had what looked like was it a commander? What was this guy with the pauldron? What was
some kind of
captain?
officer, commander, something or other.
Gotcha. And he was shouting orders.
Was it a yellow pauldron or was it orange?
No, it was orange.
Yeah, it was orange.
He was some type of TK with the pauldron. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. But that we're used to. That's not new.
Yeah.
But
I hate seeing stormtroopers with pauldrons.
Why?
I think it works.
I love it. Didn't
For the
you wear
longest
it?
time, before we saw it in Rebels or before we saw it in Mando, you never saw stormtroopers with a pauldron. Stormtroopers were always straight, clean white. Sand troopers had the pauldron.
Oh, so it's a specific sand trooper thing.
And then, in the early
it's
2000s, with the rise of the 501st and stuff like that, everybody wanted a pauldron. Vader gets a pauldron. Scout troopers get a pauldron. Royal Guards get a pauldron. Everybody's wearing pauldrons, and it just looks ridiculous. I'd have to dig to find it, but there's a really funny picture of it's a whole bunch of it's 10 or 15 501st members all in different costumes. None of them are stormtroopers, and they all have various pauldrons on. And they said, "This is how stupid you look."
But some people love the look.
And two of them are on this show.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
But it is between Rebels and Mando. It is showing up in canon. Hate it.
In Rogue One.
Is it in Rogue One?
That's where we first see the regular. I think that's where we first see the regular stormtroopers outside of animated with a regular stormtrooper with a pauldron.
They're going through the city, I think, walking around.
And I hate the new armor. Hate it so much.
Yeah, I liked it. Like I said this at one point, it looks really good in a movie where everything is perfectly staged and every little piece is perfectly put together. But the problem in the shows is because there's more show and there's less money and less time to make them. They are a lot more haphazard. So the suits are not meant to be haphazardly built. They're very, very particular. They're difficult there's lots of pieces, and they just don't work well for a show. I think what they should have done is they should have gone. It looks super sloppy, and I mean maybe that's what they were going for, but I don't think it is anymore. I think in the first season it was, but now the Imperial Remnant's still pretty clean, and I think what they should have done is they should have gone with old school and HTK, because I mean those things are meant to take a beating, and there's less pieces, they're simpler, there's not so many like pieces in between pieces, and there's not so much detail, and it's just easier to make them look good and still them be bad.
It just needs to be fitted to the wearer better, because there are some spots where the things look too loose, the arm, everything looks like it's the wrong size.
Yep.
And
It
also
really
the
did
shoulder
bug me.
belts.
Yeah, it really did bug me every time they get hit with one and they'd spin around, shoulder belt would fly up. Where's your strap, buddy?
They don't have it.
You wouldn't have that
those-
problem.
You'll never get approved.
Yeah, the new stormtroopers, even the First Order ones, they don't have a strap or anything holding the bicep down. So whenever they do something, the bicep or the shoulder belt flies up.
That's because they had the pauldron and it was holding it down.
I don't remember if you guys. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a troop. It was. I want to say it might have been the first troop that Doug Danko showed his First Order Executioner, and I think we were standing outside of the theater in Blacksburg, and the wind was blowing, and both of his shoulder belts were flapping like wings, and I was just dying laughing. It was the funniest thing.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen it. So, pauldrons. Paul hates them.
Sand troopers and clone troopers wear them. No one
Which
else.
is weird because
It's the rule.
it's literally in his name. I don't.
Paul.
Pauldron.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clone troopers and sand troopers.
Gotcha.
I have a sand trooper. I'm building a clone trooper.
Oh,
Perfect.
and just so you guys know, I don't have it now. It's in Paul's basement at the moment. But I went ahead and put my coat of clear coat on that helmet. The visor is installed. The little mic tips are in. So when that dries out and I can get a good polish on it, that helmet's done.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, that is the armor I'm taking to Celebration this time. And I'm going to be on the lookout. I'm going on the hunt for anybody dressed up as Bail Organa so I can get up in his face and tell him, it's time for you to go. When I walked around in the TK, I would find Jedis. I would come up to the Jedis, tell them that I needed to see their identification with no spurring on from them. They all waved their hand that I didn't need to see it. And I would back up and just, I don't need to see your identification, and leave. And I never talked to them again. No other interaction other than that, because I'm really hoping that just made their day. That was my whole purpose for doing that.
You know, it's not just for them; it's for you too, Wayne. You love it. We all love it.
Talking
I
about
did it
talking about clone troopers, I like I'm thinking about you guys in your clone troopers, and I was just thinking, like, with all of the announcements, I mean, spoiler alert for later in the podcast, but with all the announcements, I would love so much to have a live action Clone Wars series or anything with clones, real life people in clone armor. I mean, how cool would that be?
That would be the first.
Like, why can't I need that now?
No, that's a bad
Yes.
idea.
I
No,
think
good
this is
idea.
I think this is a good transition out of the Mandalorian into the news.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, well. Let's finish the Mandalorian real quick, and then we'll do the news. But
Yeah.
Mandalorian,
Dark
real quick,
troopers.
there were Dark Troopers. So, that was a pretty good call you guys made last episode. You were pretty sure that it was Dark Troopers, and we even went through and explained what Dark Troopers were. So, if anyone was watching, they knew what it was. So I think we did a good job last episode, guys.
I think the 4 people that watch us are probably appreciative. of that.
exactly. We're gonna fake it till we make it. And,
The only thing I'm unsure about now is what is Gideon doing with Grogu?
right,
I think
because
I know.
yeah, because
I
they already
thought he
got the
was
Dark
doing-
Troopers.
I was
Do
thinking
they?
the Dark Troopers were connected to it, but they're just droids.
Well,
Yep.
okay, so what happens is as they're facing off, with the two waves of stormtroopers. They finish them off, and let's see. I guess Grogu comes out of his meditation,
Yeah,
and
basically right as the droids show up.
right as the droids show up,
They're
and,
Iron Maning in.
Yeah,
yeah, super Iron Man, and that was that I don't think we've ever seen any type of anything like that in Star Wars, where we're used to seeing stuff kind of fly around all whimsical and crazy and stuff, and to see those things coming down like a SpaceX rocket, super straight down and super articulated, all that stuff, man.
Not like the new rocket that exploded just a few days ago, but one of the good
all
ones.
of them, but
yeah, I thought, okay, so that wasn't a test.
No, it was a test.
It was
but,
unmanned.
yeah,
But it
test.
blew up like a son of a bitch.
But they weren't trying to blow it up, though.
No,
I thought it was. Oh my god.
No,
okay.
they weren't
That's
trying
they came
to,
down
but they
too
did
fast.
it spectacularly.
That's another. That's
it was a pretty
another-
cool video.
Yeah, it's another episode. But so yeah, the Dark Troopers come down and they try to get up the hill as fast as they can, but even before that, the Razor Crest blown to smithereens.
Oh,
R.I.P.
That was the saddest moment from this episode. That's the tragedy.
Yep, pour one out for a homie, because that was horrible. That was. Oh, and you can't. It's not like it got beat up and he can like build it back. It's gone.
And it was one shot.
Incinerated.
One shot.
Well, that shot, the way it came through the clouds and stuff, it looked like it probably could do that kind of damage. It was basically a shell, just a laser shell. Wasn't
that same Friday the same day that the Kickstarter ended?
No, it had ended previously.
Was it previous? Okay.
Yeah,
Kickstarter?
the running joke was is that going to be the next stretch goal on the Kickstarter? Is it going to have an exploding feature?
No, I did see the Lego release of the Razor Crest, and it was like just a pile of broken Legos.
Yeah, they just reused the meme from the Alderaan meme. We get it.
Oh, they did. See, sorry, I missed.
I don't think so.
I have a
but it's
feeling
just
It's just a
either
pile
the
of
end-
gray bricks, and you can call it whatever you want.
either the end of this season or the beginning of next season, he's getting the ship back. Somebody's going to build him a new one.
But will it be a Razor Crest? I mean,
it'll be the Razor Crest A.
Yeah, it'll be the Razor Crest 2 or something.
two,
like that.
yeah, just
You
like
can't, though.
Slave 2.
The whole thing with that ship, what made it cool was that the transponder was before
That's
everything
true.
took over.
It was-
There's always
more out there.
It's gonna
there's
be
always a
different ship.
1995 Accord you can find in a junkyard.
It's gonna be a different ship.
Yeah, there's
Gotta
more of
be.
that class of ship out there. Just like there's the YT 1300 or whatever, the Millennium Falcon. There's more of those. I mean, they'll find another one, I'm sure, unless he takes over Slave One, which would be cool as hell.
Yeah,
Didn't
that's
think about
Boba's
that.
ship. Let him
That's-
have.
yeah,
Let Boba
no,
have.
Yeah.
He took his armor. He's gonna take his ship. So they do not get to baby in time. Grogu gets carried off in a probably one of the saddest moments.
That was so sad.
Yeah, that's why the episode's called The Tragedy.
Ugh.
Well, or it might be the Razor Crest. I don't know what was worse. But either way, it was bad. And we got to see them run up there chasing after Baby Yoda and to no avail. So then, speaking of babies,
You might want to check, make sure there's not 4 droids trying to take it.
yeah, no, it's just one human.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so as they go up, Boba is in the slave, and he's tracking on to him, and they're giving him orders. He's saying, "I'm going to take him out." And they're like, "No, don't take it out." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm going to follow him." Follows him up there, and that's where you get that quote. He says, "It's the Empire." He's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "This isn't a spice dream." And shortly after that, I guess Mando's like, I guess we'll see you later. And he's like, nope, not yet. We didn't help you protect the baby. So we get another Boba episode. If not for the rest of the season, he's going to be around.
And,
I mean, there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm telling you now, the make or break moment for this, whether I keep watching this show,
oh no,
it's what Jedi shows up
and chops off Boba's head. What if Mace Windu shows up and chops off his head? Oh,
if Mace Windu shows up, I'm out.
Yeah, that's Mace Windu's dead.
Yeah, he's
Some
not coming
characters
back.
have to be dead.
Stop saying that, because every time you say that, shit comes back.
Yeah, it's because I'm saying it, and because everybody that watches this has the same theory. No, I do not. That was a joke because he chopped off Jango's head. But there is a real serious theory that people think that Mace Windu is still alive, which
I don't think we're not going to see a Jedi.
Like I said, I don't think it matters. Because it doesn't. If they want to start a new series, they could say, yeah, he survived. But, it doesn't matter at this point.
But
anyways,
I think we will see it, though.
Oh, God.
Don't put a Jedi child on there and have that stone light up and shoot a sky beam out without somebody noticing it.
Somebody's going to notice.
Here's my prediction. The season ends, so like whatever the last 2 episodes are going to be about happens. The big boss battle, whether Gideon's dead or whether he's not.
He won't be, because he signed on for season 3.
Spoiler.
In the way that the last season ended, with kind of, you have to go find a Jedi, and he kind of flies off. The last moment of the last episode is whoever the Jedi who answered the call is going to show up.
I think it'll be a silhouette of Luke Skywalker. You're just going to see the back of him, because obviously, but I think it'll just be a silhouette of him, and then we're not going to see him anymore, because we know that it's Luke, and yeah,
he's going to go with Ghost
I don't
Luke.
want Luke.
I don't either, but I can just see, like, that's how the season has been going.
I thought we had a better a theory where what's his face from the
Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis, exactly.
That
If
would
he
be
shows
cool.
up,
I would
I'd
love
be
that.
happy.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
that would make a lot of sense too.
Would it make you guys happy?
Or the woman who's with him. I can't remember her name.
The Night Sister.
No, the other one. The one that used to be a Jedi and then she quit.
Sarah or something like that. I'm playing the game right now.
I'd be cool with her.
Didn't she die at the end? Didn't Vader kill her?
No, it's Trilla.
So he saves her.
Trilla.
He makes the water bust in, and Vader's holding it back like Anakin did the fire in the Clone Wars, and the sister jumps in the water and saves the both of them.
Okay. Because I'm just remembering the end of Fallen Order when Vader shows up. There was one moment where I just laughed out loud because it was funny. It really isn't supposed to be funny. Because Vader shows up and you're about to fight a character or there's somebody there, and Vader just goes whoop, and just yeets them off the screen.
Smell you later.
And I thought that was her. Maybe it's one of the Inquisitors. I don't know.
No. She does. She gets yeeted.
But does she show up later?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't done the last level yet, so.
Anyways, guys,
Sorry,
so
thought you'd beaten it already.
I've beaten it. I'm replaying it.
So
I haven't replayed the last level yet.
very good. So the episode basically ends there with them deciding they're gonna go out and save baby Grogu.
Don't forget the baby shackles.
Yeah,
So, yes.
baby shackles.
So the baby shackles were very disturbing. And
There's your episode title, Baby Shackles.
Yeah, because
people are gonna take it the wrong way. Because
Those
I got a baby
that he's wearing.
Yeah,
are
I have the
Thumb
baby
cuffs to
shackles.
somebody else.
Thumb cuffs.
Yeah. Ooh.
But yeah, so you were saying that you're not too sure what they might need Grogu for now, but I think we get a little taste of what they want him for. It almost like at first I was thinking they're trying to harness his power, but
Well, they want his blood and they want his
right, his essence.
midichlorians.
His
I have a
essence.
theory.
What are they doing with it?
What I think.
I have a theory.
I-
Gunnar, you go first.
Yeah, let me finish. So what I think is that there's some training. I feel like he's gonna try to basically encourage his hatred, train him. Maybe not a Sith Lord dark side kind of thing, but more or less like use your anger and let's see what we get, because he looked pretty excited to see him throwing those those troopers around.
No, he wants him to throw the troopers around because he knows it wears him out.
Yeah.
That's true. He does hint that all of that work makes him sleepy. So you're absolutely right there too. So
Yeah, he
Evan,
doesn't have to fight him if he's asleep.
Evan, what do you think there?
So we have the Dark Troopers, which are droids, and we know from Legends that there are multiple versions of Dark Troopers. So my theory is Dark Troopers version 1, Dark Troopers Mark 1, using Iron Man terms because they're Iron Man, are droids. Dark Troopers Mark 2 are super soldiers, and I think I've seen this theory going around that Moff Gideon is basically, he wants to use Grogu's blood and the Dark Troopers Mark 1 basically to make himself and then others into these kind of like Force/droid Dark Trooper super soldiers, and they can just be like, they'll basically all be like mini Darth Vaders.
Oh my god!
So he wants force-powered Borg.
Yeah. Yes.
Or
Including himself.
Or that's the thing. It could be himself. He could be making himself into a new Grievous.
Oh no!
Oh. Don't give me that hope.
Oh
That,
no!
that might be what the bodies were for the testing of mixing the two.
That sounds like something you do after you've lost a bunch of body parts or something. Gideon seems pretty in good shape. Why would he want to
Grievous
mutilate
was
himself?
straight up just ready to go.
Yep, Grievous was just like, take
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean Grievous. I meant blah, blah, blah. Gideon. Sorry.
Was Grievous hurt in canon, or did he just kind of like, he was like, hey, take it?
No, yeah, he fully volunteered for that shit.
He agreed for didn't he get swindled? Like he didn't know it was going to be that much or something like that?
You never get a clear answer because there's 2 episodes of Clone Wars that deal with it. That's the recurring answer to everything now is, do you have a question about Star Wars? Well, it's answered in one of the animated series.
That's what it's there for.
Because there's the one episode where they actually go to Grievous's lair, and you see all these statues, and it's basically a progression of Grievous from full human, organic, well, he wasn't a human, he's whatever species he was. And then you see, like, as a progression, as he gets more and more cybernetic bits added on, and becomes less and less human.
Or organic.
And then later, I don't think it's the same as there's later they talk about it, and he says, I volunteered for this. And this is what I wanted to become the ultimate Jedi killer, basically.
He knew what it took. Well,
so
he almost
it's unclear if he was injured and they took advantage of it, or if it was a volunteer thing.
Well, very interesting stuff. I'd say as far as the Mandalorian goes, that's probably it. Now we can move on to some of the mini announcements.
We'll spend another hour discussing all the news that just got released today.
Well, we don't know anything. All we know is titles and then just some basic blurbs.
Hopefully it won't take an hour, but let's go over some of that, guys.
Going back to what Evan said, sorry, I'm going to step on you for a second.
Do it.
I'm going to pick one of these items and go with it.
Do it.
What Evan said about seeing clone troopers in live action again, it would be really cool to see them in the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah.
Because they announced Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader. So presumably this is going to be flashbacks, dreams, visions, something. So would we then see clone troopers with him?
I'll take it.
Make a lot of sense to me.
Probably not, though, because they already have the Rogue One troopers ready to go. They'll just throw someone in one of those.
If they were to do a Clone Wars show, what I would want to see is a 1990 sitcom opening with the characters turning and smiling, and it's just Tamara Morrison every time.
Right.
Sorry, Tamara Morrison. And
On a
Tamara Morrison.
different
And
body.
introducing Tamara Morrison as Madston.
There is a video of that floating around somewhere. I swear I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
And there was some. Do you guys have the list? Because they announced
I have the
Yep.
list. I can
a
run through
metric
it.
ton.
Okay,
Can you
so
look it up?
Run the list.
Go ahead and
All right.
start with the very first thing you sent was that Disney Plus announcement. It's very broad.
well, I have the list of everything here. So I'm gonna run through it. So we have a Rogue Squadron feature film.
This the noise that I made when I saw the teaser image, because it comes on. It's Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman. She's a really good director. Everybody's been screaming at her to do Star Wars for years, and she does this little video. She's like roller skating around a thing. She's talking about how her dad was in the army, and I think she's always wanted to tell she's doing something off camera. She's like changing her clothes off camera. You can't really see it. And she's just kind of casually talking. She's like, yeah, my dad was really important to me. And I've always wanted to tell a story about pilots as a tribute to him. And she's like, I found the right one finally. And she puts on an X-Wing helmet. And then as she walks away, she's putting on an orange jumpsuit. The squeal that Jen and I made when we watched that video, it was not something I can replicate, but it was a, just pure, oh my God, enjoyment. This is everything I've ever wanted.
Nice.
So what's so great about Rogue Squadron? Fill me and other fans who don't know in.
Okay. Rogue Squadron is basically, it's the X-Wing Squadron. It's the survivors of Yavin. So it's those handful of pilots that ran against the Death Star. And they are the group that is fighting against the AT-ATs on Hoth. They're the snowspeeder pilots taking down the walkers. That's Rogue Squadron. It's the only time we actually see them in the movies. But basically, Legends canon is going to be a little blurry here because they haven't fully defined it yet. After the events of A New Hope, Luke Skywalker kind of put together a squadron of pilots, called it Rogue Squadron. In Legends, they were meant to be a little bit more open with their mission, so they could they weren't really like Black Ops or anything like that, but they did kind of the missions that nobody else wanted. They could do them. And there's a whole series of books, may not have aged well, but in the 90s they were very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's loving X-Wings and pilots and the trench run and everything like that. They are the coolest, the best of the best.
It was also a very popular video game.
Yes.
A lot of people are familiar with either the PC or 64. I guess it came out for both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PC, I think, is what most people were familiar with because I think it had better controls and whatnot. But I do have it for my 64.
Yeah, it was on GameCube.
Ooh, GameCube. Yeah, so that's Squadrons. Evan, is that enough for you?
So next is the Untitled Taiko Waititi film, which there's literally no information other than it's happening.
So
yeah.
Taiko directed one of the episodes of The Mandalorian in season 1.
Yeah, he did the finale.
The finale had the shootout. No. Was the shootout the episode before?
Yeah. Isn't that? Yeah.
That shootout episode. So it was.
And he had the punch the baby. The troopers punching the baby.
Yes, it had IG-88. Was IG-88 on the speeder in that one?
No,
IG-11
IG-11 was.
IG-11, sorry. Yes. So he was in that episode. Did IG die in the last episode?
Yes.
He blew himself.
He self-destructed.
Yeah, so that episode was just known for being just awesome.
Yes.
I wonder, with the IG-11 rumors, has anyone heard of rumors of there being an IG-11 show?
I haven't heard anything.
I wonder if that could be something that he could be doing, just because.
He got blowed up, so I don't think there's any coming back.
No, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe. Yeah, that wouldn't work. I guess I did just talk about him blowing up. No,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. But
Taiko's a really good director. He directed Thor Ragnarok, one of the best Marvel movies.
Yes.
He directed What We Do in the Shadows, which is amazing.
oh, he acted in it too.
And
He was IG-11 as well, so.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right.
he was the voice of Korg in
Yes.
Ragnarok.
Nice. So
He's a really good director.
that's gonna be exciting. So what else you got, Evan?
So next is Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think we got a little bit more information about that. It says it's the time span is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And
Nice.
obviously the big news is that Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader, which we mentioned before.
Nice.
It's curious that they said he's coming back as Darth Vader. Not as
Yeah.
Anakin, as Darth Vader. So that's a very curious wording.
Yeah. So maybe you're gonna see his eyes through the lenses again.
So
But
yeah.
we don't, but they haven't, I guess in A New Hope, it's kind of like it seems like they hadn't seen each other in a many long time.
Well, no, he straight up says, when last, you saw I was the learner.
Now I am the master.
Yeah.
So there's no way that they get to see each other.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm thinking it's going to be flashbacks, force visions, dreams. It's going to be that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Kathleen Kennedy specifically said this will be the rematch of the century. So
Oh,
if we get to see them dueling again, I mean, like, you do not resuscitate. I'll be gone.
yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
it'll be terrible if they do, because they're going to do it to today's standards, and it's going to be all big and flashy. And then when you go back and watch the movie, you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, just a bunch of jump cuts, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, what are they, constipated? Why is that?
Look at the Obi-Wan Maul fighting Rebels.
Yes,
That's a good fight, though.
it was
where
very quick.
Obi-Wan is like 2 strikes and you're down.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
very quick. Yeah.
Needless to say, I am excited for that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody should be, because it's going to be Ewan McGregor. I mean, he's probably one of our favorite Star Wars actors. I mean,
I think he's like everyone's favorite Star Wars actor.
Not
he's-
mine.
well, you're a Liam Neeson fan, aren't you?
I am a Liam Neeson fan.
I am, but that was a joke. But that's good. What do we got next?
So next is Ahsoka, which is, they call it a limited series, so I'm guessing it's just going to be like the Obi-Wan
Two or-
Kenobi, where it's just like maybe 1 season, 6 episodes, something like that. But the picture is like the background behind the words Ahsoka is like a big circle, and it looks like the world between worlds that we see in Rebels. So
Yeah.
it would be really cool to see some of that.
Nice. What is that? The War Between Worlds? What was it?
The world
Okay.
between worlds.
World Between Worlds.
If
Yeah.
you haven't seen Rebels,
Yeah, I
it's
just
going to
watched
sound
that.
it's in Rebels. It's
It shows up
a
twice.
shorthand way is saying it's time travel, but that's not what it is.
Ooh.
It's connecting people and places through the Force, kind of a nexus point where you could literally go and see different times and places, and you're outside of reality.
On an upside, that would mean if it was dealing with the world between worlds, we would get Sabine, and then we would get Ezra back.
Yeah, this could be our Ezra and Thrawn.
I feel like
yeah.
that's where it's going. Yeah, it's picking up on that storyline.
Which is why she's looking for Thrawn.
Yeah,
That's exciting. Cool.
Mm.
Eric's going nuts. I can hear him.
Right now, he's all like, I don't know, though. All the hair on my arms stood up.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there with both of the blasters that I printed for him. We'll see. So we got what's next? What's next?
The next is Rangers of the New Republic, which is, so they call this one a new live action series, and considering they're calling this a series instead of a limited series like they call Ahsoka, I'm assuming this is going to be like another Mandalorian type show where it's just open-ended.
I'm going to guess it's those X-Wing pilots that we've been seeing in The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Because it's set in the same time frame.
Yeah, it is.
Mandalorian. I'm betting you it's those Rangers going around taking care of stuff in their X-Wings and hopefully Y-Wings.
Do you think Dave Filoni is going to be one of the main actors?
I don't know if he's going to be one of the main, but we will definitely see him.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
I think it's going to be what's the New Republic up to at this point, kind of thing, as they're trying to go around and civilize the galaxy again.
It'd be fun if it was like a Super Troopers of the galaxy. Yeah. What you got there, Evan?
So next is Lando, and we don't know much about Lando other than it's happening. It's creator Justin Simeon. It doesn't say if Donald Glover's coming back, but my guess is he is. And if he is coming back, I'm going to be straight up honest that this is possibly my favorite. This could be my favorite series because I thought that Donald Glover's Lando was absolutely one of my favorite takes in all of Star Wars. Not just like a better version of a character, but like I just love Lando's character from Solo so much. I literally just want to be him. I want everything. I just want to literally like exorcist his body and just become him with the hair and the capes. No. I love it.
So what
I
is
was
it?
Say, like, did they say what the budget is for that Lando show? Because I can guarantee you 3/4 of it's going to be on capes.
And Donald Glover's paying Donald Glover.
So I would love it if it's the Lando Chronicles.
Okay.
What is that?
Well, in Solo, while Han and Chewie and all them are going into the mines to break everybody out, he's sitting in the Falcon and he starts recording a video of himself. And he says it's like chapter 3 of the Lando Chronicles.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Have Billy D like at the front. He bookends the story. Like, remember that time that I did this thing, and then you flash back and it's Donald Glover for 20 minutes doing a thing, and then you end on Billy D again.
That would be incredible.
I would like to see him trying to sell it as a book. So he's like, going over, and then we did this, and then it shows you, and then it bookends it with, what do you think?
So what is it though that you're talking about? Like, you love his portrayal as Lando. Do you think that he plays like the perfect young version of what Billy D plays in the original trilogy, or do you think
I do, but I also think he brings something else to it.
That's what I was about to ask. Do you think just as a new character, young Lando, forget about old Lando, this is what I want to see? Is that kind of how you're feeling right now? Okay.
Yeah, to me, I couldn't care less about Billy D. Williams. I want to see Donald Glover. I mean, no disrespect to Billy D. Williams or whatever. Just me personally, I thought that the Lando take in Solo was so much better.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a lot of people say that Donald Glover did justice and did like they feel like he really embraced Billy D's character of Lando, and so a lot of people like him for that. But it sounds like you're more for his own original take, which I kind of feel the same way too. I feel like they should have started with him, and then maybe Billy D could have taken some notes from him. But no, Billy D is Lando. I mean, when you go back and watch Empire Strikes Back, dude, I mean, he's so smooth. He's so cool. True. It's he's Lando. That's Lando. I mean, but anyways, what do we got Lando? What do we got next?
Next
this is crazy that we're rolling through announcements. This is insane.
I know, it's crazy, and we're only halfway through.
Oh my God.
So next is Andor, which is the Cassian series we all know about. It looks like Genevieve O'Reilly is coming back as Mon Mothma, which is really, really exciting.
Ooh, she plays good. She plays it so well.
And it's going to drop in 2022, it says.
Yeah, they're filming now. So it'll probably be like first part of 2022.
Very nice. Very nice.
This one's probably the one I'm least excited about. I just don't really care about Cassian's character.
Oh man, I love Cassian though.
Man.
I'm curious to see where they're going with it, and there are lots of possibilities they could go with it. I would love to see them explore his time as a Fulcrum agent.
Yeah, that's what. That
can
one's
see
just
that.
got a lot of potential,
Yeah.
especially into like the whole the Death Star plans and stuff like that. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But what do we got next?
So next is the Acolyte, which is apparently it's by the same person who did Russian Doll, which Paul, I think that's one of your favorites,
Yeah.
right?
That's a really good show.
It's a mystery thriller that will take the audience into the galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic. So between that and Lando, that's what I'm most excited about.
I've seen the Acolyte the masks. That's the only thing I know about them. Is
I think that's from the Old Republic video game. I mean, this is completely different.
so this
Yeah.
is it's not the same thing at all.
No.
So just the
No.
same name, no relation.
Yes.
Well, Acolyte is like a common term
Okay.
in like sort of like monk kind of circles, I guess. Acolyte.
Right. Yeah. But I just thought specifically it was a name. Like
I mean, considering their Acolyte in Star Wars at least has dark side connotations, and this thing does seem like it's around the show will be around the dark side, which would be really cool. But they probably are leaning that way, where it's like a dark side Acolyte, I'm guessing.
nice.
And the image is like the word Acolyte, and there's like a lightsaber slash through it, so it seems pretty menacing.
I'm excited for this one because we're finally moving into a new time frame. We're moving
Yes,
away
please,
from
God.
the existing movies and such into something new and different.
That's what I
How
was
many
looking for in
colors
High
can
Republic.
we see the X-Wing jumpsuits in? I mean, come on.
We haven't gone through all the colors.
We got orange, we got blue, we got green. In Squadrons, there's a white one. I mean,
I want purple.
pink, purple. I'm sure that's in Squadrons as well. Just go play that.
It is now. As of this week.
All right, Evan. What else you got?
Bad Batch, which we all know about. The trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, the trailer was so good.
Wait, there's a trailer.
Yes.
They
When
put up
did
a
it
trailer
release?
for it
When?
today.
Ah!
Like, it was part
Oh,
of the
Hannah said she just sent it to me.
in the trailer. There is somebody who looks an awful lot like Fennec from Mandalorian. She's wearing
Really?
the same helmet. Yes.
Very
I'll have to watch
cool.
it because I was only half paying attention. I was doing other stuff.
Yeah. There's
the Mandalorian. That doesn't make sense. How is she? What is she? 12 years old?
well, the actress who plays Fennec is in her 50s.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
She ages very
Wow.
well.
She
actress
ages
name
not at all.
Yeah, not at
Yeah.
all. She's beautiful.
Her name's Ming Na, and yeah, she's been acting since the mid '90s. Yeah, she's in her 50s. So, if assuming the character is the same age, she would be. Yeah, she could easily be showing up in the post Clone Wars era.
Very cool. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. I didn't know that. She seemed like she was as young as everyone else. But that also sounds like a really good
Yes.
series. What else you got, Evan? How many more we got?
So there's I think just two more. Star Wars Visions, which is going to be 10 anime short films, I guess, that says all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away. So I'm guessing I personally haven't seen this, but there was a few years ago they came out with like something similar like this for the Halo series. And there was like a bunch of different like short films. It was in different art styles, and some were anime and some were Western and some were 3D. And
Nice.
so they had like different stories from all around the Halo universe. This is what this sounds like.
So like
Yeah.
different artists and different writers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They did something like this for the Matrix as well.
Yeah.
What was it?
And
Enter the Matrix? Matrix
Animatrix.
versus
Animatrix.
yeah.
Animatrix.
Animatrix, yeah.
Yeah. it told different stories kind of surrounding it. They're all done in these different anime styles.
Right, but they still, use the mythos or whatever
Yeah.
you call it. That's awesome. I like the idea of that. There was I was telling you guys about a show that was kind of like Heavy Metal, where if you've seen Heavy Metal, it's different stories. Now they're all done by the same artist in that film, but they've had another series on Netflix. Love, Robots,
Love, Death, and Robots.
That's it. And that's the same kind of vein where it's different artists, different stories, but basically all the stories are kind of science fiction is kind of the theme for that one. But that's such a good idea to have different artists, like you described it. It would be very creative. I like the idea of that. So that's Visions, and that's when I saw that, I didn't know what Visions was. I was thinking of Marvel when I saw Visions.
Yeah, it does look Marvel-esque.
But what's the last one on the list there?
The last one is a droid story, which is an intersection of animation and visual effects, and it's going to introduce us to a new hero guided by a legendary duo, R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Well,
that's it.
We'll get our old, droids. It's like a continuation of the horrible cartoon.
Never seen it, never plan to.
It's so
I've got it if you want to borrow it.
It's
I
so
don't.
bad.
I really
if
don't.
You got YouTube, you can borrow it, and you.
I'm not going to do that either.
It's better than the Christmas special.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
You can watch it. You can't watch the Christmas special. I can get through the first 10 minutes of every episode. I cannot get through the first 10 minutes of the Christmas episode.
Droids has better music than the holiday special. The Droids theme song is way better.
Yeah. Wait, no, it's not. It's really bad, isn't it?
That's the one that was not Stuart. Did Stuart Copeland write the music for that?
I think so.
I don't remember.
It's a fairly big name who did the music for it.
For Droids, the show.
Yeah. It's kind of a funky theme.
Yeah, it is, but it's fun.
It's very early 80s, but yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
that's as far as I ever got. I couldn't make it past the theme song.
Oh, man, no. I actually went through a phase where at work I would just put on, if I could find an interesting, series, a bunch of seasons or something, I'd put it on, and I was like, oh, let's put this on, and it would just play in the background. But it was terrible. Animation's so bad. But anyways, that's it for the announcements, I suppose. Now Disney Plus did announce that they were one of the posts they had, they said I'm sorry. They said roughly 10 Marvel series, 10 Star Wars series, 15 Disney live action, Disney animation, and Pixar series, plus 15 all-new Disney live-action, Disney animation, and Pixar features will be released directly on Disney+. So that's not just Star Wars, but also Marvel and other Disney news as well. So That's pretty exciting. Disney+, they gotta stay on their toes to compete with everyone else, because
everybody's trying to compete with them now.
Yeah. Yes, but I also feel like they don't want to drop the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just like reassuring us.
They didn't drop the ball.
It's coming.
They didn't drop the ball. They picked it up and chucked it 30 feet away.
Right, and it's still flying. It's still flying.
It's soaring through the air.
It's going to space.
Yes.
But we're all.
Last week, Warner Brothers was like, "Oh, all of our 2021 movies will be on HBO Max." And Disney was like, hold my beer.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yep. It's a beautiful thing. We should have in Disney Plus we trust on our money instead of in God we trust, because
it's funny because in the past when the Star Wars trilogies were over, that was it for Star Wars. You would just be like, all right, well, I guess I'm waiting for however many decades for the next movie. And now
I guess I'm waiting for a book. Yeah.
The movies are over and they just keep going and keep going. And I honestly don't care about future Star Wars movies anymore. I just care like this stuff. This is what makes me happy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
people are starting to go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just gonna say the side stories and the series are really what interests me right now.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think a lot of people are preferring. I think even a lot of producers and stuff, they're realizing that an audience is going to be more invested in a story that takes place over time. 10 hours is a season versus a 2 or 3 hour movie. I mean, we're still going to have films and stuff, but I feel like this new avenue that's opened up is not only easier to like digest, but it really does keep you invested in it, where like you said, a movie would come and go and you're just like, oh, there it goes. But now we know, like, well, they could make a spinoff from that. Oh, they could do another series of this. They could do that. And a lot of our speculation of that has come true. I mean, almost, Paul, you're the one that said it. You said all these characters, all of them, they're getting their spinoff. And so far, you've been exactly right. So
Star Wars characters never die.
Yep, that's true. Legends never die.
Unfortunately.
All right, guys. Well, if I think that might be all for this week, which it was a lot. This might be one of our longer episodes. But
Yeah, this was longer than last week, and last week we talked about 2 episodes.
It could be. Oh my goodness.
There was a lot more to discuss in this one, though.
Yeah, and
That's
we
true.
crammed it in. We really did. So we'll probably have absolutely nothing to talk about ever again.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
Next week we're gonna be like,
No, we do got another episode of The Mandalorian, so we got that to go.
We got 2 more.
2 more. So we're okay. We're not dead yet. But anyways, guys, is there anything that you wanted to recommend or suggest people watch?
It would appear you could get a fairly decent copy of the holiday special on YouTube.
Oh boy.
Yeah, if you've never
recommend
watched it, you need to watch it. I always hate when people say this. Just turn your brain off and enjoy the fun. Don't take it seriously. Have fun with it, because it is it's ridiculous and it's fun, and you'll see things you have never seen before.
And
Yeah.
you said that you could put the 2 of mine together, right? The disc copy that I have and the riff track. You could make that as the one. Yeah, I'm
Are you
talking
talking-
to you, Gunnar.
Me? What? Have we talked about this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually I could if I had both of the files and they were digital. Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
one on DVD and the other's digital.
I don't know if I can rip a DVD onto. I might. We'll look into it. That's for sure.
Okay.
I'll make it your Christmas dreams come true. But I must say,
You need software to break the encryption. I don't know anything about this. I've never done that before because that's illegal.
okay, so it sounds like Paul doesn't know what he's talking about. Neither do I.
Nothing at all. I have
Um,
no idea.
No,
No.
except that my copy came from Paul.
And if
Well,
you
that was
do,
different.
if you do want to, yeah, shut up. If you do want to watch that movie, make sure you go outside, find a stick, and bite on it real hard, because it's not
Oh
easy.
no, just have fun. If you drink, have a couple drinks with
That's
you.
a good idea. That's a good idea.
Whatever your intoxicant of choice
Yes,
for
if you-
relaxing is, just kick back, put your feet up, and just enjoy the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah, I have a couple I might combine for the holiday special, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be the only way to wash that down. But it's the new outro,
No, it's the intro to the holiday special.
right? Well, I hope it's not the bootleg. All right,
Well,
guys.
only the bootleg exists unless you're watching TV in 1978.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. All right, guys. Well, I think if that's it, I'm going to go ahead and start the outro. Thank you guys for joining us this week. If you want to, you can check us out on Instagram at the Serenno Squadcast. You can also see the 501st Legion and the Garrison Tyrannus Instagram as well if you want to see pictures and stuff of troops and approvals and whatnot. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Subscribe and like. Show us some love. We need it. And,
Ring that bell.
Ring the bell, as they say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.